Daddy, daddy, if you want to drop the addy. You know what song?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I might, but I don't right now.
It's, how about I'll give you another lyric.
All right.
It's time to play. Does Pete know? Not does Pete know the song. Specifically, does Pete know the song of DJ's choosing?
Yes.
That's what we should make a game show. It's like, and the whole, all the lettering is like, does Pete know the song? And then there's like the script underneath it says like, of DJ's choosing. It's like always an Eagles song. Or it's like Steely Dan.
Any guess the song, somebody chooses it. Somebody chooses the song.
But it's funnier if it's just does Pete know the song, it sounds like we're kind of spinning a wheel and it's like a beat Shazam type of thing. But if it's does Pete know the song of DJ's choosing, it suggests that I'm like picking a Steely Dan song. It's always Steely Dan. Famously, Steely Dan has the lyrics, Daddy, Daddy, if you want to drop the addy.
That's why I don't know it, because I've never listened to Steely Dan.
Have you never listened to Steely Dan?
Never listened to Steely Dan. I hope that Wayne is not listening to this, because I know that Wayne is the biggest Steely Dan guy that's ever existed.
The cool thing about being a Steely Dan guy is it's so much more than music. You could just tell by meeting somebody that they're a Steely Dan guy.
And it seems like it has a little bit of Ween energy where like you're very proud to be a Steely Dan person.
Yes.
Like everybody in Ween loves to let you know that they like Ween.
In fact, we're going to talk a little Grammys, but in the Grammys last night had the worst feature of an award show I've ever seen, which was they had a round table for album of the year, and they had a fan representative for each artist.
No.
And they did like 5-minute segments on here. So I'm a Coldplay fan. Here's why Coldplay should win album of the year. And every person was just like, I don't know. They're just the best. Like, how do you not love Coldplay? And you're like, oh, kill me.
That doesn't work with like music. You could like have that maybe with a movie, like the Oscars. Like, here's somebody who's trying to represent this movie and why it should be film of the year. But like, you can't do that with music because music is so subjective.
It's the most subjective.
Right. And everybody who like reps something, unless you're like a music critic or a music analyst, you're probably not bringing anything to the table that's like of value.
Right. So I was killing this segment, feature, whatever, as with everybody. All of Twitter last night was just like, holy fuck, they didn't cancel this mid-show. Why are they still doing this? This is so bad. But at the end,
Taylor Swift wasn't nominated for Album of the Year this year.
So by the end of the night, I came up with Grammy's got to do that round table thing, but the nominees are Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Father John Misty, Steely Dan, the Lakers, Notre Dame, and the Maple Leafs. And you just gather around the most insufferable fans.
I love this.
And have them all, because that shit would get violent real quick. Like, I don't even think you'd make it to the Father John Misty fans. It would start with the Taylor Swift fans would be super annoying and stupid. The Beyonce fans would be like, look, I don't know who you think you are. Those two would start fighting, and then everybody else would just like go home. The Steely Dan fans would be smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, I would be with the Steely Dan fans, smoking cigarettes, watching the Maple Leafs fans and Taylor Swift fans go at each other's throats. That seems like a dream for me.
Another lyric from that song is, Mommy don't know Daddy's getting hot at the body shop.
Oh, now I know, like, at the body shop.
Yep.
That part. Who sings that song?
A favorite artist of brunch.
Is it Imagine Dragons?
No. Like an actual artist that we like.
I have no idea.
Well, that part is sung by Sam Smith, but it is, I don't know who's featuring whom. I believe it's Sam Smith featuring Kim Petras. I thought it was the other way around.
Is that Unholy song or whatever
Yes.
it is? Or Holy?
Unholy. And Kim Petras has her verse starts with daddy, daddy, if you want it, drop the addy. Yeah.
I mean, Kim Petras has really leaned 1,000,000,000% into like raunchy pop.
Hot, 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 hot. All she cares, like, whatever we're doing, we're going to make it hot.
Did you ever listen to Slut Pop?
Yeah.
That was just outrageous.
Yeah.
Outrageous. But shout out Kim Petras. Glad that she's getting that shine.
You know, she
I
got
didn't
a
realize
lot of,
that was her song though.
Yeah, she got a lot of flack early on because she hit the scene and she was like Dr. Luke's new thing. And she had that song I Don't Want It At All, which I fucking loved. I was crazy about it. And then once the Kesha Dr. Luke stuff started happening, people were like, Kim Petras is problematic. And I was like, oh, this seems like a stretch. Kim Petras really, I think, is a good thing for music, but let's hear this. And there was like a while where people were like, cancel Kim Petras because she's worked with Dr. Luke.
Kim Petras has seemed like she's really embracing that genre, and she's going full in, and I respect it.
Madonna yesterday, while presenting, said, or what she was about to introduce, I forget who she was going to introduce, but she said, I think it actually was, she was introducing Kim Petras, but she was like, hey, you should want people calling you dangerous and problematic, and like people should be upset with you. And I was like, yeah, well, Madonna, you kind of happened during a different time and stuff. Like, I don't think you want to be problematic. I think that.
No, but I sort of get what she's saying. Like, it's there. You always want there to be people pushing boundaries, especially when it comes to like music and art and shit like that. Like, you never want to be so sanitized that it's boring and not like it doesn't have representation all across the board. Doesn't mean that like you're like uncancelable or like you can't go too far, but I think she's right in the sense that like every art needs like a dangerous person involved.
Yeah. And I mean, if I was thinking this, I was like, yo, like if Sam Smith and Kim Petras
can work together
are like dangerous, if like that's the thing that's like, oh, too much, like they really seem like nice people. Like I really do not feel threatened by Kim Petras. Well, like I think like Kim Petras is like a pretty chill person.
I would also say like if like your dangerous person in this equation is Kim Petras, and Kim Petras is working with Sam Smith, who's like very mainstream and very more like he's not quite to the level that Kim Petras is in terms of like putting himself out there.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they can work together on a mainstream thing, like that's like it's a good place to be, because you can have a quote-unquote safe person in Sam Smith and then like a quote-unquote dangerous person in Kim Petras meeting in the middle and making hits. And then they're not too dangerous.
Oh, yeah. They won, by the way, they won a Grammy for Best Pop Duo Group Performance, which I think it was appropriate for that song to win something. It was up for, I think, it was up for either record or song of the year. And I wanted it to win something because that song, although it's just it's only got 2 chords, but that song is a banger. Just truly. It's dramatic. They performed it last night. It was crazy. A lot of like satanic stuff, a lot of fire. So all the pusses really not loving it. Like what's his
music?
Yeah, what's his face? Ted Cruz tweeted about it, of course.
Dude, people complaining about music like there hasn't been like inappropriate music for literally forever. Just shut the fuck up. I can't deal with those people. Like,
if this is the bad thing,
right?
Like he's saying she be popping it or something. She be dropping it. She's at the body shop. Like I think we're all going to live through this. I could be wrong.
I mean, it's so stupid. I can't waste my energy and time on people getting upset about like raunchy lyrics and claiming that it's ruining America's youth or whatever. Shut the fuck up.
Grammys was a big night for my Beyonce, not quite tinfoil hat thing, But the thing I say about Beyonce every year with the Grammys of like, hey, watch they're going to give her Grammys, but watch which ones they give her. They gave her, I think, 2 more Grammys last night. She broke the record for all-time Grammys. So, of course, they did the Drew Brees thing, like stopped the show, like big parade for Beyonce. They were like, see, we love Beyonce. We give Beyonce awards. See, we love her. But they didn't give her album or record or song of the year. And still, in her career, she still only has one of those for Single Ladies. In 2010, she got Song of the Year. So Grammys continues to pretend they love Beyonce, but they don't really give her flowers. Not that I think that this year was one in which Beyonce needed to get those awards. Harry's House won Album of the Year. I truly thought that Beyonce Renaissance was going to win because I thought that the Grammys were like, okay, this is going to be the year where she breaks the record, so let's actually make it count. But Harry's House won, and I don't know if you saw this, but do you know what he said?
He said something to the effect of, like, this doesn't happen to people like me.
He Olivia Rodrigo'd it.
Yeah, but I did see, like, an explanation, sort of, that may help his case. Just that, like, he always says that, and he has been saying it for a while, and it, like, I guess it's in reference to him not being, like, a Nepo baby coming out of England. And that, like, he grew up in a working class family that didn't make any money, and like those kinds of people don't really usually get shots in the UK. Like a lot of the entertainment people that come out of the UK come from like money or come from wealthy families or families of status. So I don't know like how much that holds up, but you probably should find a different way to frame it or shape it if he's going to continue using that line or using that approach.
That's it. I completely agree. Like, I'm not here to gatekeep, but I think that it's just very funny that in 2023 he said that. He got up there and
an attractive
just like,
white man
white
who's
as
like,
shit.
This doesn't happen to people like me.
An attractive white man who, let's be real, cosplays as queer, gets up there and is like,
I don't like doing that either, though, because like I think that he's been like upfront about being like gender fluid or like sexually fluid, and so like I don't like gatekeeping, like cosplaying as gay or whatever. Like it. That I don't like getting into that, but I do understand what you're saying in terms of like.
No, yeah, I'm saying like the optics
cool,
of like the straight man who gets up there and like straight, good looking guy. I would recommend everybody listen to the comedian Chris Fleming has a joke that truly is how I felt, is how I have like felt about my actual job, and that's not to. I'm not like shitting on my job, but just like in the field in which Pete and I work, I feel it applies. Chris Fleming has a bit about be creative, but run it by us first. Like be creative, but make it a something that we get and feels safe to us. And then once we have enough weird things from the weird people, we're gonna find the handsome jock and give it to them, and that's how you get Harry Styles, which is mean to Harry Styles because he's like, fuck, like, I'm sorry I'm handsome, but I do think that Harry Styles is kind of like the poster child of that.
Yeah, that's fair, and it's also like a kind of like the old like be yourself, but don't be too much like yourself,
right?
Kind of deal. It's like be yourself as long as it's okay by us and our standards.
I did a tweet last night that was truly like, hey, if I tried to be as safe and generic as possible, what would a tweet during the Grammys look like? And I tweeted it, and that's like the most viral tweet I've done in like 3 years. It was
the Whopper one.
Yeah. It was like it
was a good tweet, honestly. Like very very accessible. Very proud of you that you're getting into accessible Twitter.
I knew right away too. I was like, yeah, this one it's nice though.
It's nice. It's
not the funniest thing I've done. It's not super creative.
No, but it's also not like it's not shameless. Like it's still sort of on brand. It wasn't like, oh, here's DJ fucking selling out.
Yeah.
You just did shit that like you joke about. So it worked.
I would love if anytime I tweet something that more than 8 people would understand, if those 8 people are like sell out.
Anytime that you just have like a tweet that does well,
yeah,
regardless of what it is, like regardless of the content, I'm just gonna call you a sellout.
The DJ Bean subreddit, just in shambles.
This tweet got bitches. Sellout.
Yeah. Another big thing for the Grammys, old people.
Go on.
Bonnie Raitt won Song of the Year.
Really?
Yep. Ozzy Osbourne won Rock
Best
Album.
New Artist. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I was joking with someone earlier that next year Father John Misty is coming for Best New Artist. How amazing would that be if like Josh Tillman went like full court press, like shaking hands, kissing babies, and the Grammys are like, fine.
That would be the best because it would piss everybody off. It would piss off people who didn't know Father John Misty. They'd be like, who the fuck is this old man and why is he winning Best New Artist? His music sucks. And then it would piss off all the Father John Misty fans because they'd be like, fucking sellout. And
yeah.
Then, like, he's not Best New Artist. He's been around. If you're a real Misty stan, you've been around for 10 years. Nobody would be happy about it, and it would be the fucking best. And he would probably have like the biggest shit-eating grin knowing that everybody was mad.
I would just love to see the look on everybody's faces as they are like, wait, oh, that fucking guy.
Taylor Swift seeing him.
This guy's been around. Yeah.
After he's like shit on her. Like that would be the best. I want that so bad. That'd be the one thing to get me to tune into the Grammys next year is Father John Misty getting a Best New Artist nom.
Let's start the campaign now. But so Bonnie Raitt won Song of the Year, Ozzy Osbourne won Rock Album of the Year, Willie Nelson won Country Album of the Year. So ABBA was nominated for Album of the Year. And like, remember when we were watching, what year would it have been? 2019 Oscars, when like the dominoes started to fall, where we were like, oh, Parasite's gonna win. Gonna win. And like bit by bit, there was like each little indication. When Ozzy had won before the show, I joked like, oh, I guess ABBA's gonna win Album of the Year. Then Willie Nelson won Country Album of the Year, and I was like, And then Bonnie Raitt won Song of the Year, and I was like, damn, I think ABBA's actually going to win Album of the Year. But they didn't.
It seems like the Grammys trying to steer in the other direction of people saying that it's like too young and like not inclusive of the old community.
Yeah,
trying to really rectify that one. It's like when people vote for the Norris and they're like, "This guy's due." The Grammys decided that old people were due for a big year.
I forget what year it was. It was not long ago. It was maybe like the late. Let me see. Album of the Year. I think it was like in the 2000. Steely Dan, who is like a 70s act. In 2000, Steely Dan won Album of the Year, and everybody was so mad. That was like one of the OG. Everyone's so mad at the Grammys, except for Steely Dan fans. They were all just like in jean jackets, like. Sick.
Smoking cigarettes. Nice.
Nice. That's fucking cool. I like the Grammys. So the Grammys were ultimately fun. They did a tribute to hip hop, and they had everybody. It was like everybody came out. Okay. Like any rapper you could think of had like 10 seconds out there, and it was very, very awesome. It was overall good show. Fun time. Was it ridiculous and stupid? Yes, but that's how the Grammys work.
How was Trevor Noah?
I mean...
Yeah, that sounds about right. You don't even have to go any further than that.
Yeah, as long as you limit him, he's fine. But
yeah, it's always a good sign. As long as he's not around much.
An issue I had was Taylor Swift was standing up the whole show. And I'm like, yo, sit down. It's one thing like
dancing.
Yeah, like it's one thing if like she likes the song and she's dancing. I feel like it's a fun staple of award shows. Taylor's like you cut to Taylor Swift, she's dancing, she's with her friends or whatever. But she was just standing the whole time. And I'm like, yo, if I were sitting behind Taylor Swift, I'd be like, excuse me, sit down. I'd like to watch
Ben
this
Affleck
speech.
sitting behind her because he seemed miserable the whole time.
Oh, Ben Affleck wasn't having a good time. He was.
I can't blame him. I don't think Ben Affleck wants to be at his like own award ceremony. So to have to go for J-Lo, he probably wasn't having the best time.
He had the toughest look going, which is the suit and tie, but the top button of the shirt isn't buttoned, but the tie is still done. Like the tie isn't loosened. That is so tough.
Because you can downgrade in terms of like presentation.
Yeah.
To that, and it's like, okay, he's been there a while. He's getting a little bit more comfortable. But when you leave the tie done up and the button undone, you just look fucking sloppy. You're not committing either way.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then
yes,
that is tough, and I've I did that sometimes. Like maybe if I put a little weight, and I had to do the TV and threw on the clothes last minute, was like up, and I would do that. But that just doesn't look good.
You gotta either abandon the tie or fully loosen the tie.
Yeah.
And then make it look like you're going for that look. You're committing to that, like, all right, we're here. I'm getting comfortable. That's okay. But don't be sloppy about it.
Love you, Ben. I like that. I was afraid that people were going to be roasting him and making fun of him. They really didn't.
Good, because I think that like people can understand that.
Like he doesn't want to be there.
Supportive. He's trying to be supportive. He's trying to put on a brave face, but he does not want to be there. And we've all been there.
Ben.
We can all go to places that we don't want to be, and we just fucking suck it up for people that we enjoy. So, Shout out to Ben Affleck. Good boyfriend.
Love you.
Good husband.
Husband even.
Good husband.
Not great driving instructor. Your Honor. Season 2.
Speaking of fathers that are not great driving instructors.
Oh boy. Oh.
There we go.
I was like, when does that happen in your
Literally what the whole show is based around.
You know, it's easy to forget what the show's about. So
It's true. That's very true. Good point.
It's good you said that, Pete. We left off with Jimmy and Michael standing over New Rocco, the two grandfathers. As this episode begins, Jimmy tells Michael, I'm having a birthday party. You are to come to it. And you know what? Bring Charlie. Which leads us to our first question, like 3 seconds into this episode. Why does Michael need to listen to him? He doesn't have anything on him anymore. He already went to jail. His kid already died. Is like the threat, I'm going to kill you?
No, but he has the famously we find out in this episode, we'll get to this later. Michael doesn't care if Jimmy kills him at this point. No, but Jimmy has incriminating stuff against Charlie, doesn't he?
Yeah. I feel like everybody should have stuff on Charlie at this point.
Right. So I think that's Jimmy's trying to. I think Jimmy at this point is just trying to play like both sides, and he's just doing what everybody tells him to do from both sides. But my big takeaway from that was I didn't pin Jimmy as a big "it's my birthday" guy, but as this episode has proved, he is a huge. Guess what? It's my birthday this week. He's a birthday week guy. He whistled happy birthday to himself in the car, told Michael, hey, it's my birthday tomorrow. And then he shows up at Fia's door and he says, hey, it's my birthday, Fia. Can you say happy birthday to me, please? He probably was in between at some point during that day, went on Twitter and was like, I just found out that so-and-so is my birthday twin.
Yep, I was going to say.
Today's the birthday.
He's for sure calling people and wishing them a happy birthday, saying he thought they had the same birthday.
For sure. And also, one thing that was hard to wrap my head around in this episode is, given all the time that we've spent on the marital problems of the Baxters, we're suddenly led to believe that Gina is throwing Jimmy a massive birthday party.
Come on.
There's no chance. Jimmy set that birthday party up for himself, being a big "it's my birthday" guy, and told everybody that his wife threw him that birthday party. Zero chance Gina put that together.
Oh, yeah. Gina has bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Typically
mainly
threatening
Carlo.
to
mainly fucking Carlo.
Yeah, trying to bang her son or have people murdered. This was a big episode for me identifying with Charlie. You know why I identify with Charlie?
No.
Because Charlie never works. Charlie's just going like off and doing like hanging out with his criminal best friend
in the public,
shaking down club owners. This guy never works. How is he going to this party? How is he doing all the things that he's doing? He is never working.
We've not heard a single policy point from Charlie, and we're probably approaching a few months into his mayorship, and all we've seen him do is like meet people in parking lots at night, and then meet criminals at restaurants during the day, and then go to big bashes and get photographed with criminals.
Yeah. What does Charlie say? Fuck me in reference to? Because I wrote down that he says that, but I forget why he says it.
I would imagine it was finding out that Adam had a kid with Fia.
Oh, yes, right. He says, fuck me. And that if I do a song for this episode, that'd be that one. It would just be fuck me.
I love that.
Fuck me. And then he talks about, he's like, damn, I used to buy Adam condoms. I'm like, right, because you weren't working.
That would be a good secondary option there. I bought Adam condoms, but I didn't teach him how to use them. That's a good song. Yeah. No,
I say, what's the not to get two X's and O's here?
Like, what's the policy on buying other people's kids' condoms?
No, not that.
I would say that's a bad policy, regardless of whether or not you're the kid's godfather. Yeah. I don't think that you're allowed to buy somebody else's kids' condoms.
Also, I think kids are allowed to buy condoms.
For sure. 100%.
You're allowed to. Like, is he like actually buying them for him because Adam couldn't afford them?
No, I mean he's
like,
got
please,
money.
I'm very, very poor and I must have sex. I don't want to have a baby.
Adam is too busy committing manslaughter and then trying to cover it up to have time to buy his own condoms. Apparently.
Also, Adam was having sex with his teacher,
Correct.
An adult. Why can't she buy the condoms?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's a fair question.
They just needed to give Charlie something to do.
Yeah.
Adam was like, okay, look, you've been asking
my errands.
Carlo flirts with somebody. That's a very tough scene.
That was an incredible Gina and Carlo scene. Carlo was trying to flirt with somebody that wasn't his mom, which really incensed his mom. Who proceeded to cockblock Carlo and then just ramp the sexual tension up to 4,000 on a scale of 10. That was so uncomfortable to watch. That officially pushed me to the point where I'm making the declaration, Carlo and Gina are going to have some sort of sexual scene this season of Your Honor. I'm putting my stamp of take it to the bank because there's no way that they're this overt and spending this much time fleshing out this fucking weird. Who is it? Oedipus? What's
Oedipus?
The fucking Oedipus?
Yeah, is that
the guy who wants to fuck his mom?
I think that's Sophocles, right?
Sure, one of those Greek. I think it's Oedipus, but like they're spending too much time and doing. And on that subject for them to completely do it by accident. It's common.
Gina also says to Carlo that by flirting with the maitre d' that he is, quote, slumming.
Mm-hmm.
Real nice way to talk about your employees.
Yes. And like your son being interested in somebody.
Yeah.
He's allowed to make his own decisions.
Michael goes to this party, by the way, with a custom suit that Rosie Perez hooked him up with. And at first I'm like, man, just get something off the rack. Why whose dime is this on? But come to find out, she's bugging him, and she put a listening device in the collar stays. I kind of like that move.
It's a good. It's not something that I would have anticipated. 2 notes on that. This is Michael's Queer Eye episode. He does get his makeover. Is looking less disheveled. Kind of puts himself back on the map here. And then secondly, Rosie Perez, for somebody who did not want Michael to find the wire that she placed on him, did not do a good job of covering up the fact that she put a wire on him. Really gave herself away by revealing that she heard the conversation that he had just had previously.
You know what it is? It's in Rounders when Matt Damon spots Teddy KGB's tell, and immediately he says, okay, I'm going to lay this hand down because I know that you have this, blah, blah. And this is right after, like, as Teddy KGB, spoilers, is, like, holding the Oreos in his hand. It's like, all right, what you're doing is working. Don't say anything. And he just immediately says, like, basically, okay, I found your tell.
Gives himself up, yeah.
Not very smart. We found out that Fia is the one, by the way, who cuts Michael's hair.
Correct, and cuts it dry.
Oh, yeah,
dogs
true.
The hair.
True.
Have you ever gotten a dry haircut?
Like if it's just with like buzzers and with like clippers and stuff. If you're just going to like
for sure, but
rinky dink.
She cut with scissors.
Yeah,
on dry, crusty old hair that he probably hasn't washed.
Yeah, I mean that is malnourished hair. There's no Ensure in there.
No.
The guy's not using anything. Gina,
Saddam Hussein caught a lot of ricochet shots in this episode.
Yeah. They say that he looks like Saddam Hussein. It's basically it. Gina's pissed that Michael's at the party, so she gets a light little threat off, which is not.
Yeah, we got a mini Gina Michael showdown.
Yeah,
they framed the. I think they framed it intentionally to resemble some of the showdowns that we had between Michael and Jimmy in the first season, where they're like sort of their profiles are on either side of the screen, and I don't know if that's like to signify. If that's a conscious choice to signify that like Gina has stepped into the role of Jimmy as being like the menacing member of that family, but it's quickly followed up by a pretty menacing scene from Jimmy himself. So I don't know. Like Gina seem we got all indications that Gina was kind of taking over that operation, but now I'm not so sure.
This leads to a 5-minute span that caused me to hit pause and text you to say, hey, there's like a 5-minute span in this episode that might be the most ridiculous in Your Honor history. Jimmy gives a speech at his own birthday party for Michael. He says, we welcome a new member to the family, not my daughter's child, but the judge who killed my kid. And then he says, oh, he's friends with the mayor. Let's get the mayor here. And names Charlie, godfather of the baby that is not his. Then he brings in Mark Margolis, who plays Gina's dad. He says, always nice to meet the city's power brokers. I look forward to the things we'll do together. As a photographer takes a picture of the 4 of them. They skip ahead like 900 steps in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, they absolutely packed a punch in those 4 minutes. They introduce a new character, and they just like basically intertwine them all in one fell swoop. So not sure what like the big takeaway there is, other than like that's just the easiest way to incriminate Charlie in a public domain.
It's so weird, but we finally do have Mark Margolis, which is nice.
Yeah. Diabolical move by Jimmy, by the way. I kind of I liked that move, the speech move. Just forcing Charlie's and Michael's hand to associate themselves with him in front of everybody that they know. But yeah, I mean, Carmine Conti, great patriarch name. And Mark Margolis I'm very excited to see what ridiculousness he brings to this role, because I'm because it's gonna happen.
Perfect for this show. Yeah, because after, as he goes to talk to Gina, Michael and Charlie are like, damn, Carmine Conti, he's the most dangerous man in the world. I'm like, yeah, good.
Oh, yeah, right.
More gangsters, and especially one played by Mark Margolis.
Yeah, especially like an elderly gang. Like, we have a lot of gangsters in this show, but we don't have an elderly gangster, and we don't have like somebody who can really like hold it to Jimmy other than
Say it,
Gina.
we don't have any scary male figures in this show.
That's actually a good point. It's a good point.
For real.
It's a good point. There are not any menacing, powerful
The only people who
males
are
in the
going to
show.
get anything done in this show are Big Mo and Gina.
True. Yeah, like any menacing character that's been in the show has immediately gotten cucked.
I also didn't realize that until just now. So, like, yeah, it's...
Yeah, for a show that was like literally like built on powerful men going head to head, none of them remain.
No. So Gina, by the way, talks to her dad, but she's like, ugh, everybody here is such a cuck. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, Mark Margolis. I'm so glad you're here.
Knowing the trends, knowing that the powerful males got cucked pretty swiftly, who is in the strongest position to really give it to Carmine's bare ass?
I don't know. I mean, if Carmine is what they're suggesting he is, the fact that he's in New Orleans, which they said that he hasn't been there in like a million years.
20 years or something, yeah.
And he's taking pictures with Charlie. Charlie's either gotta like Charlie's gotta fleece this out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie's either gotta really buddy up with him or
yeah, you
like,
can't
get
immediately
this guy
take,
killed.
You can't take office and then be photographed with a guy that was like kicked out of New Orleans like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're in office and he's back. That's a bad sign for you, Charlie.
Last thing I'll say about this party, Jimmy has Frankie drag Michael down to the basement where he asks him, "What do you want with my family?" You invited me.
I know. He didn't
You
find
threw
any
yourself this party and made me come.
And that's immediately after introducing him to the entire party, being like, check out the new guy in my family. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, why are you associating with my family?
What movie is it? God, I think it's a movie where the girl like keeps like kissing the guy and is like, oh, shut up. Get out of here. You're so annoying. And then like makes out with him and like pushes him and is like, in your dreams. What is...
I know what you're talking about, but I can't pinpoint it. It's not Booksmart, is it?
No, but it's shoot. In your dreams. What is that? But anyway, that's what Jimmy does with
Right.
Michael.
Pretty much.
He's like, stay away from my family. Gross.
It's the best. This show's great. Yeah, I thought that like if I had to pick the scene that I thought you were talking about when you're like, this is the most like craziest 4 minutes in Your Honor history, pulling him down to the garage of that party for that scene, I thought was more ridiculous than the toast scene.
Yeah.
But they were both pretty ridiculous.
I mean, I like that the show's kind of getting back to being ridiculous.
Correct.
Which-
And also, I think this was a good episode, too. Like,
Yeah.
a ridiculous episode, but also very good.
I'm enjoying watching the show. We must talk about perhaps one of the biggest plot developments in this episode, which is
That Rosie Perez is a degenerate gambler who's addicted to the ponies.
I mean, that's barely a development. They've been giving us that bit by bit. They've been giving us that piecemeal for a couple of weeks now. But the baseball coach is looking for the money, but Eugene has escaped with it and has gone to New Orleans, specifically Big Mo's house.
I don't know what to make of this, because on one hand, I'm like, this could be very smart for Eugene, because if Big Mo needed a sign that he was trustworthy or loyal to her, that's a good one.
Right.
But he has essentially fucked over the one guy who's been kind to him the entire time, which is Lil Mo. And now Lil Mo, like, is big fucked.
He is signed. I mean, we said last week that Lil Mo is the Ignacio Varga of Your Honor, and he has all but signed. Eugene has all but signed Lil Mo's death certificate.
Yeah. Which I don't know is going to happen because the show is so ridiculous, and like they'll find ways to keep characters around for reasons that don't make a lot of sense. So I'm not convinced that Lil Mo is going to die, but like in a sensible world, Lil Mo should die in like the next episode. But we'll see how he gets himself out of it. I thought for sure that Sheila was going to die in this episode. Mm-hmm. She still might die. She's like the most innocent bystander that could possibly be involved in this show.
You know that would kill me. I would I would have to stop watching the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't have
kicking in, but like that.
I can't have her die.
But they're going to kill her because they don't need to keep her around now, and it would be devastating just because she's the most innocent. So I think they're going to pull that card soon.
Yeah.
Maybe next episode.
Well, I'm looking forward to next episode. We got a big Friday coming up because we get Your Honor on Friday, and we get The Last of Us episode 5 because of Super Bowl.
And I'll tell you what, episode 5 of The Last of Us is going to be a very good one as well, based off of where they left off. So
I haven't watched yet.
Big week of TV. Also, the new Hogwarts game comes out this week, and that comes out on Friday. So it's a big week for your boy.
Nice. I love to hear that.
Hell yeah. So another good Your Honor episode. I don't know where they're gonna go, but like
that's how Your Honor works.
I didn't think that they were gonna be able to pull off a second season that would keep me interested. I just thought it was gonna be so ridiculous and outrageous that like it was gonna lose me. But it's been so ridiculous and outrageous that it still got a grip on me. They still have got that fastball, baby, and I'm so excited about it.
We love it. Patreon.com/listen to brunch. On the Patreon episodes, this is where we push you to listen to the regular episodes.
Mm-hmm. So this week, Wednesday,
listen to it. We got big things coming. Love you. Bye.